I'm not shy about using my fingers. I think a second bite is in order. Hello, I'm Mary DiSomma, and today I'm making some mini key lime tartlets. These are so beautiful. Doesn't this scream garden party? And that's typically when I serve these. And I'm so excited to share this recipe with you because it's actually included in my cookbook, My Life in Pies. And you can see how beautiful they are in the cookbook. I hope you enjoy learning this recipe, and I know you'll want to make these at home. Okay, so we have our graham cracker crumbs, and it should have the texture of sand. And if you want to save on time, you can always buy a box of already crushed graham cracker crumbs. I sometimes do that when I'm short on time. And I have 8 tablespoons of melted butter that are cooled, and I have 1/3 cup of granulated sugar. So let's mix it all together. Add the sugar. And you use granulated sugar in your graham cracker crust because this really is going to help everything bind together, and it's going to give it obviously a touch of sweetness. And not all graham cracker crusts have to be baked, but in this recipe we're going to bake our crust for about 5 minutes until it's a light brown in color. This is going to give it a good flavor, and it's going to make the crust sturdier to hold our custard. So I tossed in that melted butter. It's cooled. And so now we're just going to go ahead and mix this together. I start with a spoon, but I'm very tactile, so I'm going to go in with my fingers and make sure to get that all nice and mixed. Should look like wet sand. Okay, we have our mixture all ready, and make sure before you put your crust crumbs right into your tartlet pans that you spray them with nonstick cooking spray. You'll be very happy when it's time to turn them out of the pan for serving. They come out so much easier. So now we're going to press the crumbs right into our tartlets. Throw a nice chunky handful in each pan. So let's start pressing them in. I just use my fingers. You want to make sure to get it all the way up the side of the pan. I like to round the edge between the bottom crust and the side crust. And I do this because when you actually go to eat the tartlets, the side crust will stay binded to the bottom crust really well. Don't worry if you get crumbs all over. That's why I like to place these on a parchment-lined baking sheet because it makes for super easy cleanup. So I have my oven heated to 350 degrees, and we're going to bake these for about 5 minutes until they turn a light golden brown. The baking will give it a nice toasted flavor, and you'll get a nice firm crust that'll hold that delicious custard that I'm going to pour into it. So this one looks perfect. This is what you're going for. You want to make sure that you have a good delineation between the bottom crust and the side crust. And you want to make sure there's plenty of room for your filling. So when zesting lemons, limes, or oranges, my favorite tool to use is a microplane zester. And so the key here is just to do a back and forth motion. Your zest is going to collect in this area in the zester. And you want to be gentle, because you only want to get the skin, not the pith, because the pith is bitter. See? And you have your zest right there, and then I just take my finger and remove the zest from there and measure it with a measuring spoon. Okay, so I have my stand mixer. We're going to use the whip attachment. Let's start making the custard. So we'll drop the 3 egg yolks right into the bowl of the stand mixer. Let's add our lime zest, love that, and sugar. I have about 4 tablespoons of sugar. So let's whip this for about 5 minutes until it's a light pale color. And the egg yolks are essential because this is going to hold our custard together. And the sugar is going to give it just the right amount of sweetness to offset the tang of the lime. Let's do this. Okay, it's been 5 minutes. Oh, look at that. It really grew, and it's a beautiful pale color. So now I'm going to add my sweetened and condensed milk. This is an essential ingredient for a key lime pie. The key lime pie was invented in the Florida Keys, and in the 1930s, they did not have refrigeration. So this pie was great because it's a canned product, so it wasn't a requirement to have refrigeration. Okay, let's mix that in. Okay, I think we have a good mixture. So now I'm going to stir in the lime juice. So I'll remove my whisk, pour in my lime juice, and mix it well together until it's good and combined. It's a perfect creamy consistency. Everything is combined evenly. So now we'll get ready to pour our custard right into the tartlet pans. Woo, hot. Well, these have been baking for about 5 minutes. And look at the beautiful color. They're a nice light golden brown color. So I'll transfer these to a cooling rack. So to fill the tartlets, I use a 1/2 cup and dip it right into the filling. I just drag the bottom so we don't make a big mess. And I start pouring. Okay, let's fill up again. These are perfect. So I have my oven heated at 350 degrees, and my oven, these take about 15 minutes to bake, but I would gauge 12 to 15 minutes, and you know they're completely baked when they're nice and firm. If it's a little bit jiggly in the middle, don't worry. When you pull them out, they'll continue to set as they cool. Oh, these look perfect. So I would let these cool for about 15-20 minutes. You want them completely cool before we start garnishing them. So now for the fun part. We're going to remove our tartlets from the pan. I'm using tartlet pans that have a removable bottom. This makes it easier to pop them out, and then I'm just going to transfer it to my plate. That made a little plop. I'm sure you're going to be way more delicate than I was right then and there. And I'm going to add a decorative edible flower. Oh, I like this one. And you just want to make sure that they say edible flower on them. If you grow some edible flowers in your garden, like chamomile, you can use those, and they're very beautiful. Okay. I like to add a couple mint leaves to mimic the leaf of a flower. I like to use different sizes. And the color contrast is really nice, green with the yellow. Let's add one more. Maybe I'll add it on this side. Beautiful. And then I have some candied orange peel. I just add a few. I like the flavor, and it just makes them look pretty. And they're just as pretty as they are delicious. So look at how beautiful these mini tartlets look once they're completely decorated with the edible flowers and the mint and the candied orange zest. This platter screams garden party. And that's exactly when I served them last. I invited all my family and friends over, and there was just oohing and eyeing once I brought this platter over. I enjoy serving these with seafood, but because I'm from Chicago and love a good steak, I love to finish off a good steak meal with a piece of key lime pie. I really hope you make these at home.